Welcome back everyone, and I want to show you a little bit about generative design today. So this is the project we did earlier in project 9 and A. This will be A-1 that you did. And let's do some generative design. We've got the bases of it done. We got the plate, and then we've got this little cylinder up here, which a pin's going to go through it, so there's going to be some pressure on it. So it's going to be like a hinge is what it's going to be. And let's go in and start doing our work. Now, before we get started, I want to show you a quick trick on this that you need to do, and it's called using interference. So what I mean by that is because this is going to make it's going to start designing, and it doesn't know what these holes are, so it might design over top of it. So if you have some interference, like some cylinders coming out of it, it will avoid those cylinders. Let me show you what I'm talking about. What I want to do is hit New Sketch, and I'm going to put it on the bottom of this. And I want to put, and I'm just going to put a couple holes in here, or I could either do that, or I can go Create. It makes it easier and go down to Project, and project that hole, project that hole, project that hole. You all see how I'm doing that. So now when I'm done with that, I can hit Finish Sketch, Extrude. And the important thing is here, when I do this, I don't want this to be like a join, because I don't want it a part of this. I want it to be a new body. So it'll be a complete separate entity as opposed to this plate. And I'll shoot it up there just like that. And I'll shoot it up there high. And then I'll hit OK. So those are separate bodies as opposed to this. Now I want to do the same thing with this. And what I do is come down here, and I want to use just the edge of this to do it. And that's fine. And I want to project that geometry right there, because I don't want that hole covered at all. Okay? So I just end up finishing that sketch out, extrude. Where's my, here, double click that, sketch, and let's go back to it. Oh, never mind. Cancel that. I want to double click that sketch because for some reason it didn't project my geometry out where I wanted it to. So project my geometry and finish sketch. It should have projected that out. Okay, we're good. Extrude. Extrude. I'm going to have to redo this. I want to be on this face, and I want to extrude that hole and project. And that should have projected over. And it did. There it is. Perfect. Now I can do it. For some odd reason it wasn't doing it before, but and you want to make this a new body, not a join, but a new body. So it's a totally different piece than this, okay? And we'll shoot it over. It don't matter how far. Only thing, what I'm doing is I'm telling it, I want you to make me a design, but I do not want you to interfere with these hole positions or this. I do not want you to put some material inside this bore. All right. So when you get it to that point, you come over here and you come down to generative design and structural component and create your study. All right. So the first thing you want to look at is preserve geometry. You click on it, hit your little pencil, and you click all of the things you want to preserve. Oh, preserve. I want to preserve the plate down here. And see how it's wanting to add these in. That should have been a new body. That should have never chosen that. So if it does that, go back to design. And let's find where I put those in. Right there. And see where it's joined? It should be new body. And now when I go back to it in generative, I want to preserve my geometry. This right here is, I want the plate, okay? That's part of my preserved geometry. I want my plate, and I want this round bore right here. My original drawing is what I want. So you see it turns green. What I want to preserve, that's my original. That's, I'm telling it that's what I have to have, and you can design whatever. Let the computer's intelligence figure it out. Also, the next thing is obstacle geometry. Now this is these holes, I need those to be clear. I don't need material on those. So I go through, I click on all of them just like that. And now when it makes a design, it's not going to include any of these areas. So hit OK on that. And I missed one. And we'll come back and grab it. And OK. So there we go. Everything else looks really good. Looks great. So another thing I need to do before I get too far along is come back up here to design, and I want to go back into my material and right click on this and go to material, physical material. And I want to make sure that this is, see it's steel. I need this to be plastic. ABS plastic. So I go down to plastic, ABS, come up here and click on it just like that. Close. And we'll save it for the time being. So now when I go back to generative design, everything's good. You just got the material saved, so we're all good there. Just make sure all this is okay. Let's check, make sure my physical material is, well, we're okay here. So now I've got to do just like what I did before when I done the structure analysis on this, the FEA. I want to go in here, design conditions, and first I want to do a constructual constraint and click the back of this, and I want it fixed in all directions. Okay, so it's locked. It's not going anywhere. Okay. The next thing I want to do is put a little bit of a load on this thing. Okay, and I want to catch the bore inside of here. All right. So I want to catch inside this thing, and I want the cylinder. So I click on it, and what I want to do is in this direction, straight up. I want you guys to go 450 newtons. Those are my angles, my newtons. I want to go 450 newtons up like that. Actually, I want to do X and Y Newton on it, okay? So I clicked on this one over here, the vectors. I want to do 450 going up, but then in my direction going to the right here, I want to do 120. So let's do 120. So what you get is like a pulling force going this way. It'd be 120 newtons in this direction and 450 newtons coming straight up. And then OK on that. So now we've got this is holding down, and then we've got the pressure going this way. So there's a couple other things that we have to do before we get too far along, and all that is set. And I come over here, PreCheck. All right, so it's saying something about milling. So there's something that's not right. I'm missing material, or I'm missing some part of what the computer needs to figure out how to make this part. And right here is what I got to go to. I don't want to go to job status. Actually, I want to go to design criteria. My objectives, I want to utilize mass. That's good. Safety factor of 2. That's fine. And then I want to go to manufacturing. How do I want this to generate? Well, I don't want milling. That's a conventional machining. I want additive manufacturing. So keep that checked and come down here and click off of your milling and overhang. How much do you want this thing to print in overhang? 45 degrees. I'm just going to go back to 30. A lot of machines will do 45, but just for safety, I want to do 30 degrees. And the wall thickness, the thinnest the wall can be, 3 millimeters. We can go to about 2.5, okay? So that's the thinnest point that it will make a wall, okay? So now all I have to do is hit OK on that, and you notice how now our pre-check is good. Everything we need is done for this thing to figure out what kind of design that it wants to make. So in that, I don't want to click this just yet because it takes for a pretty good while to generate. But what I do is go to Previewer, and it will do a preview. Now, you'll see that come up here in just a second. All right. See how it's kind of coming up with a design, and it's checking out, and it knows those points that it cannot interfere with. Y'all see what I'm saying? So that is kind of the design that it's going for right now, and it's making a shell for the most part in this when it does this. So there's a lot of things you can do, if this is not exactly what you're looking for. So it's basically, if I turn it sideways, you can kind of see it's going to kind of make this and make a little bit of a shell around it. There is a couple things I do not like on this, so I might make some more preserve sections of it, okay? And what I mean by that is I'm not ready to generate. I want to come up here back to design, and I want to make me a couple new bodies. And one of them I'm going to catch this side here, boom, and I want to put myself, and I'll project this geometry up so that I can see it. And then I'll actually, I'm going to project geometry. Project, I want to catch this line, this line, this line. Okay. And now I want to put myself a line that goes across like this. This is going to be another preserved section because I don't want that. If you all noticed before, it had a little bit of an area here. I do not want anything on that bottom because I want that to sit flat. So I want to extrude, or not extrude, yeah, I want to extrude it, but I want to do a new body on it too. So new body, you grab it and you take it all the way. It doesn't matter how far, but you want to use a new body and not join because you want to keep the pieces separated. All right, so I want that. And there is a couple of the things that I would like to have on here. It was, if you remember, like right now we can go back in. I'm going to save it, and we go back to generative, and everything's there. And if I go and add obstacle and click on this, cancel that just a second. Let me turn it so I can see. But obstacle, I can grab this down here at the bottom and OK it. Now, if I do a previewer, let's see what it looks like. It's not going to choose anything down on this side. Y'all see what I'm saying? That doesn't come down and interfere with the ground. But you see how it's calculating still? It's all right. It's making a real thick shell around this thing. You all see that? Okay. I'm still not completely pleased with, and the thing of it is, whenever you go in here and generate this, it'll make all kinds of different designs, which I think is really cool. But there's a couple more things that I want to do to this to get it close to what I want. I want to go back into design, and you guys do it however you want, but I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't want to do this. I'm going to put myself a couple. I want to create project geometry, and I'm going to put myself a couple of I'll just put a couple lines in here just like this. It doesn't really matter. I'll turn those around, and I'm going to shoot those back because I want to make an interference going back like this, okay? And don't cut. You want to do a new body, and okay. So now when I go back in here to generative design, I go to obstacle geometry, click on it, and I click those two characters there, and okay. Now if I do a preview, let's see what it ends up looking like. All right, this looks a little bit better. So you all saw how to use that, and see how now it's just coming up with a line straight up out of this. And I'll let because I use these to preserve. I don't want that to come over into this. So all I have to do now is hit generate. And whenever you hit generate, it is going to take a little bit of time to get there, okay? So I go generative, study, and it has to go through the cloud, and it has to use different entities to try to create this and calculate this design. And like I said, it'll provide you with many, many different choices for you to use. And again, the whole thing of generative is to tell it just a few basic things, and it does the rest for you. Okay, and this is awesome. But it really helps you in the design process because you told it exactly what kind of forces are going to be on it. You told it what type of material. Now it's designing something that's going to meet your objective. So this will take a little bit of time. You all see over here, it's thinking about it. So like I said, sometimes it can take 30 minutes. It could take an hour, 2 hours, depending on how complex the design is. So just let it cook, and after you get your design, and we'll go from there in just a bit. All right, folks, the processing is complete, and you start to see what they call these are iterations. And there's quite a few of them, and if you'll notice, the computer used its artificial intelligence, let me get that out right, and it created these designs. And you got quite a few of them. There's more than this in there, but all you have to do is like choose a design that you want, that you're comfortable with. Click on it, like this one. Click on it, and you'll come up with a previewer, and you can turn it and look at it, which just looks really cool. And all you have to do now would be come up here. If this is the one that you want, you come up here to create and click on design from outcome, and it's going to convert that into a drawing for you. And you can see it right here. It's working on it. And I've already done it. It takes a few minutes to do this, but I already done one, and I'll show you that here. On this one, I've already got it saved. As you can see, it's already created. So I just double click it, and you can see it has already been designed. And all you have to do is right up here is a box. So it says design ready. So I double click that. And it says right here the design was successfully created. And if I hit open design, after it processes, it will do that for me. and it's made the mesh on it. It's got all that good stuff. And at this point, I can save it. You know, okay, save it, and then you can actually go in there and make your STL. Now you can edit it at this point, whatever you want to do. It's just a regular drawing. You just converted it into your own part model so that you can do revisions on it. But now I can come over here to File, and I can go to 3D Print, and I can make this an STL file. So it's pretty neat. I want you guys to go through, and I want you all to do the exact same thing I did and submit this when you get it finished. If you need help, let me know.